Hey there, sisterhood. April here, and I'm so excited to launch you into the universe of What's Her Superpower. Superpowers, sisterhood, secrets revealed. What's Her Superpower explodes onto the scene, alternating between real talk solo episodes and electrifying guest interviews. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We've got our special guest, Angela Duncan. I had to write all this stuff down because this is a busy lady we've got here. She's the CEO and founder of HER Money Business Consulting. She also is a author of Empower Your Money, 101 Simple Ways for Female Entrepreneurs to Create Financial Freedom. And she has her own podcast, Empower Her Money. See a general theme running here, don't you, ladies? Thank you so much for joining us, Angela. Tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Yes, thank you, April, for having me on. I'm super excited. So a little background of me. I am a survivor of childhood abuse and trauma. I lived in poverty and we moved more times than I can even remember. So when I was 18, moved out of that situation, decided that I needed to learn about money because my 18-year-old version of myself thought if I had money, wouldn't have to have gone through what I did as a child. And so what I realized many years later, though, is that perhaps if my mom had better financial education, she wouldn't have stayed in that situation and I wouldn't have had to endure the abuse and poverty that I grew up in. But it definitely, taught me a lot as a child. And so I kind of started on that financial journey, went to college, was a financial advisor, owned an insurance office. And then today I'm just, utilizing the platforms to be able to teach women about money.
I love that. And that to me is every woman, money is not going to solve all of your problems, but it's going to give you choices. And we all need choices. So you and I definitely share that passion of women learning about money. So you started working at 18 and you haven't stopped since, right?
Yeah, actually I started working at 14. And so I haven't stopped since. I don't know what it's like not to work. I got my first job when I was 14. It was through a school program that helped kids that lived in poverty to put them into jobs and give them some skills. I had to take a bus to a not so great neighborhood, but I worked at a high school during the summer. So you imagine the kids that come through during summer school, probably not the kids that you want your daughter to be hanging out with. But I learned how to type. I learned how to answer phones and some basic, secretarial type skills. And I learned how to take the bus by myself and figure out, what stops to get off, what time to be ready by. So a lot of skills I learned very early on and again in getting that first job.
Yeah. Now, when you work with women, because I know one of the things, I spent 20 years in the military, and it's amazing to me how few people, these kids, come in and they don't know the first thing about having their own money. And it's amazing to me in this day and age, we talk about everything, nothing sex-wise is off the table to talk about, but we're not teaching our kids about money. And I don't understand that.
Yeah, we're when you have children, it's your responsibility. And I definitely hear what you said. I grew up, I didn't grow up anywhere, but when I lived in San Diego and Oceanside, California, during my early 20s, I would watch these kids come in, 18, 19-year-olds joining the Marines and spending money on like fast cars and just blowing that entire paycheck because they lived on base. And their parents just didn't take the time to teach them about money, but, their parents didn't teach them about money. So how far back do you go to, put that kind of blame on? But at the same time, you are your own person. There's so much free information that's available on YouTube, on podcasts like this one, that you really have no excuse. You have to take action. Go find that information and become a student and learn about whatever it is that you want to learn about. If it's money, I can give you plenty of resources to find free information about money.
Yeah. And it's one of those things, it's everywhere, but you're right. We're not, we're just not teaching our kids, especially our daughters. I mean, a lot of times you don't learn about money until it's too late. All of a sudden you're in debt and people are calling you. And I mean, I went through that as a teenager because nobody taught me about money. It's like,
Right.
oh, I've got a good job. I'm making good money. I can spend it. Well, you can until all of a sudden you wake up one morning and you don't have that job. So,
Yeah. Or women will defer, when they get married, they defer all the decision making to their husband. But you need to at least have some basic information if something were to happen to him. And that's kind of how you approach that topic, right? Is something happens to you, I need to know where is our finances and what do I do with them when you're not here to make those decisions anymore? So get involved and ask questions. I mean, in the US, we have over a 50% divorce rate. So like you said, most women aren't learning about money until they're divorced, or maybe they inherited a property and they don't know how to manage it, rentals from their parents, or, something, life happens and they have a child and they just don't know what to do. So it really is upon you to be able to take that action, but know that it's okay, that if you don't know about money, it's not a scary thing. I like to think of it as a tool. It's just a tool in your toolbox, just like your car, just like, this camera and this laptop that we're talking into right now. These are all just tools. So when you take away the money piece of it and change your way of thinking about it and just think of it as a tool, then perhaps you can kind of shift a little bit to want to learn more. How do I use this tool? I have it. It's available. Now I need to utilize it in the best manner as possible so that I can create more financial independence by what I already have in my hand right now with this tool.
yeah, definitely. And a lot of times we're brought up from a mentality of scarcity. Oh, we can't afford that. We can't afford this. My mother, bless her heart, she had 6 kids. Back then, and even now, women didn't get paid as much. She would never tell us, oh, I can't afford that. Like we'd go to the store, there was candy there. Can I have a candy? Oh, they're not selling that today.
Yeah.
And as a child, I didn't know, oh, okay, they're not selling that today. But as an adult, I thought, how smart was she? It wasn't that we couldn't afford it. It was that they weren't selling it today. So what are we teaching our kids when we say, oh, I can't afford those jeans that you want, or I can't afford, we can't afford a new car or whatever. That's a scarcity mentality. We have to be teaching our kids responsibility, but we also, want them to know that you can make money. Money's there. But like you said, it's a tool, but you have to have that mentality of abundance and not scarcity.
Right. And, have some fun with it. If you're a parent and you have a child, let's play some games. Let's think about dreaming. What kind of business do you want to open? What do you think it costs to open that business? What kind of resources do you need to, rent a building? Do you need to buy equipment? What do you think that costs? And how much money do you need to make to be profitable, and just doing some simple, you're teaching them math essentially, but you're also teaching them to be an entrepreneur and to dream bigger. So instead of watching TV or like football on Sunday, kind of play the money game with them and teach them about business from an early age. And the other thing I always challenge parents with as well is those that are taking the responsibility and teaching their kids what the financial education is not going to teach them, which is money, then also find other kids whose parents are doing the same so that they can dream bigger together. Because what happens, and I think I found this with my daughter, is I started her at a very young age. We would go to real estate properties. I was teaching her about investing. She had a job at the company. I was teaching her about taxes and savings and investing, but I never put her around other kids whose parents were doing the same. So as she got older, she would want to talk about certain business terms or investing. And the kids around her, now she's in college, sometimes they don't wake up till noon. They don't have a job. They have a credit card that their parents pay for. They have no concept at all about money, which, I'm not going to tell other people how to parent, but get your kids around like-minded kids so that they can grow and flourish together. And who knows, maybe they start a company someday, but at least they don't feel alone because they have knowledge that other kids may not have the advantages of. And they can want to teach other kids, but also be around kids who are like-minded to them. Just like as adults, we want to be around people who are like-minded so we can grow and, help each other.
Definitely. And that they say, what is it? You're like the five people that you surround yourself with. So who are we letting our kids, who are they surrounded by? Because as little girls, as kids, male or female, we had dreams. And as we got older and life takes over, and we get around people that don't dream and aren't supportive, and they poo-poo on our dreams, and that's not acceptable, because you do you, but don't poo-poo on my dream. So, and it's okay to tell people that, because sometimes it's people are in your life for a reason, a season, or there's another one. A reason or a season. We'll go with two.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just saw a quote on this exact topic, and I posted it on my Instagram too, because it says, look at the 5 closest people in your life. If you are not empowering, uplifting, and encouraging each other to grow, then you are in a cage. And to take that visual and think about yourself in a cage, do you really want to be in a cage? No, you need to get out of that cage and find some new people who are around you. And it's so much tougher as adults, right? As kids, if you want to make a new friend on the playground, you just go talk to them. But as adults, it's kind of frowned upon. So, I live in Miami, and there's always events going, there's always activities, and I am kind of a homebody, but I challenge myself to get out and just to go up and talk to someone. And if I'm at a business networking event, a great line I love to use, instead of, hey, what do you do for a living? Which can be kind of boring. I ask them, what exciting project are you working on right now, and how can I help you? And then, you just see them light up like, oh, I just launched this website, or I've got this new product line, and they tell you about it. And so I am very intentional with my networking, where I ask them that question, then we can exchange contact information. And I have a list that I keep of people that I'll send a video to later. I'll do just a quick video. I'll be like, hey, April, it was so great to meet you at that event. I'm so excited about your project. And if I know of anybody I think I can connect you with, I will definitely keep you in mind. And that way they're remembering you as well. But this is just us being nice to people and giving back and helping other people, because at some point they're going to follow you on social media. Maybe they know someone that can help your business, but they're more likely to do that when you took the time to let them know that you care about them too.
Yeah, because somewhere along the way, just like social media, people think they can get on, and just sell or put out whatever they want. Social media, the big part of social media is being social. So we have to remember that. We have to treat people. We have to know that on the other end of that computer or that phone, there is a person, and they want connection. And I think really after COVID, we really learned that. We saw that a lot more. People didn't want to. They were spending more time on social media, but they wanted connection. They needed connection because they were locked away in their homes.
Yeah. And I think even post-COVID, I've seen some statistics where people are saying, as entrepreneurs, as solopreneurs, that we feel the loneliest we've ever been, because what COVID did was given us permission and all these platforms to go virtual. And so we're not being in person. And while I love talking to you on this Zoom podcast, I know that in person, the energy and the synergy between us would be much different, and you walk away with a different feeling. So you don't feel that loneliness, but just, get out and meet new people, challenge yourself. Don't be home so much. And there's still free things that you can go do, even if you just go sit at Starbucks and buy a $5 coffee, you can sit there for hours and just talk to people, or go sit at your, local restaurant and sit at the bar and just order some appetizers during happy hour. It doesn't have to be expensive, but you definitely need to get back out in the world and to socialize, so that we can continue to have a positive, impactful life, that we are uplifting other people, because it's not about me. It's about the responsibility that I have with my gifts to give back and to help other people. And when you do that, I just think the world can be such an incredible place.
Yeah. And that's what I want. If you're listening to this, sorry. If you're listening to this, I want you to really listen with an open mind and think, what gifts do I have that I can put out in the world? Because I can guarantee you know something, or you've been through something that somebody else could learn from. And I know we try it with our kids all the time. They don't listen. So But there's a lot of people out there that will listen to you. So if you don't know what your gifts are, ask your friends. Ask your friends that call you. You're the person that they go to because there's something about you that attracts them, and you have that gift that you can give somebody else.
Yeah, and don't devalue it. I have friends who love to cook and they think, they stay at home with their children and they cook and clean. Well, I don't like to cook. I don't really know how to cook. In fact, I like to say I'm allergic to my kitchen. That's why I go out and get food. But that's a gift. If you know how to cook, if you can look at a cupboard and throw some stuff together and people actually eat it, that's a gift. I have a friend who's incredible with putting wardrobes together. She helps me when I go shop. If I'm speaking at an event and I want to look and feel amazing, then she tells me like what flatters my body type, what colors look good with my skin tone. I don't know that stuff. That's her gift. And so understanding what your gift is, not putting it down, but understanding that people might actually need it. And if people are asking you questions, like you said, if someone asks you questions about something, most likely that's your gift. Own it and use it and give it to other people.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going into a new year, Angela. What are like 3 tips that you can give our audience that, if they're like, my money's a mess, I don't even know, I don't have money, I don't know where to start. Where would you suggest that they start?
Yeah, my first one is with your own health. If you don't have great health, then you're not going to have focus. You're not going to be able to have a great mindset. A lot of negativity comes into your world when people are unhealthy because they're tired, their body hurts, and you can make a lot of excuses on when not to do things because you're just not healthy. So number 1 is health. That's on my list this year. I let it slide a little bit last year, was working way too many hours, and it's very easy for entrepreneurs to do. But if you're not taking care of yourself, how do you take care of anybody else? So health is number 1. Number 2 is to take the time to invest in yourself. So one of my goals this year is to be in the top 1% globally for podcasts because I want to reach more people and impact more people with financial education. Well, I need to learn how to podcast correctly. How do you interview people? How do you get on other people's podcasts? So I spend 30 minutes every day doing research and learning more about being the best podcast host I possibly can be. So that's number 2 is I'm taking that time to invest in myself. And number 3, give yourself permission to have some fun, take some time off, whatever that looks like to you. I live in Florida. I'm in Miami. I'm close to the water. The water for me is just refreshing. It helps clear my mind. I leave my phone in the car and I go for a walk at the beach. I do bring a notebook and a pen because I find that I think about things and then I forget them when I get back to my car. So I don't want to have my phone with me. I want to spend time in nature and listen to the water and enjoy the sunshine, but I've got to have that notepad because that aha moment might come and then I forget about it when I get to the car. So those are my 3: health, invest in yourself, and allow yourself permission to take time off.
Yeah, well, it's good to know because you're younger than I am. So it's good to know that I'm not the only one that remember or thinks of stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's so good. And then later, usually it's when I'm in bed and I'm trying to go to sleep and I'm shutting my mind down and I'm actually quiet and and I'm like, oh, so I got to reach over and grab my phone that's on the charger and make a note or,
no, put a notepad there. Put the phone in the other room. I mean, I have a daughter, so she's like, if she calls me, I have a certain loud ring that happens. But my phone is in the other room at nighttime because it's so easy for you to pick it up. Someone messaged you, text you, social media message. Like, I don't want the phone there. I have a notepad and a pen, and I do the same thing when I'm sitting at the couch watching YouTube. I have a notepad and a pen, no phone, because if I'm focused, then I'm going to be able to get that information I'm seeking, and it'll take me less time because I'm not getting distractions from that phone that can be so easy for us to pick up and get lost for an hour.
Yeah, I mute my phone at night. Everybody knows that if you want to get in touch with us, you need to call my husband because I am not going to I've got it set up for special rings for certain people, like the kids. But yeah, no, I mute that thing. I do not want to hear that noise going off all night long.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like the self-development, just everything you said, I was like, yes, yes, yes. Self-care is huge. And we just, as women, we don't take that time for ourselves, but we cannot pour from an empty cup.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that as women, we are the nucleus of everything, whether it's family, it's community, it's church, it's everything revolves. We've got our hands in everything.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to recharge ourselves. So,
Yeah. And ask for help because we're so willing to help other people, your friends, your kids, your husband. They'll ask you to help them with something. Yeah, sure, no problem. But when it comes to our own needs, we're afraid to ask for help. But if we remember that we women are so giving that we can ask for help from each other, and we know that the other person is most likely going to say yes within reason, but don't be afraid to ask for help either.
yeah. And ladies, okay, this is for you. However they do it, it's okay. Just because you don't like the way your husband or your significant other or whoever, your kids folds clothes, they're folded, they're put away, leave it. Okay. It's not the way you would do it, but it's done and you don't have to do it. So live with that outcome and just move on.
Yeah.
Life is too short to worry about how a towel is folded.
Right. As long as no one is harmed, then it's okay.
Yep. So, what's in store for your empire that you're building this for 2024? I know we just talked about goals, so you do monthly goals of not yearly, but I'm sure you have big things in the works.
Yeah. So for me, it's the financial education to be able to reach more people and to teach more people about money. I am super focused on the female environment, especially entrepreneurs, because they're great at growing businesses, but not always great at keeping that money. So I challenge them if we look at your books and that information. I love doing speaking events and just being able to reach more people. Like how do we impact the world as we get in front of more people, right? So using this message and the podcast and other women and delivering that message is definitely a top goal of mine. I also want to do some more traveling now that we're post-COVID a few years. I feel like I can get back to traveling and I put it in my budget. I make a plan for it. I know how much I'm going to be spending. And so I'm still giving myself permission to take care of myself by renewing my spirit and my mind by taking vacation. But it also gives me a chance to reach other people and to learn about other cultures, because everybody outside the US thinks differently about money and their own customs and their own cultures. So how do I teach them about money if I don't understand their customs and their cultures? What does money mean to them? So in order to do that, I'm investing in my own education. I'm going to go meet them and talk to them and ask them questions so that I can help teach them more in a manner in which makes sense for them too.
Yeah. And it is so important. And having been in the military for 20 years, I've traveled just about around the world. So it really is, once you see the lifestyles of other, and you live in their culture or visit their culture and you really open yourself up to it, they're so different than what we're used to, what our normal is. So yeah, matter of fact, I will be in your neck of the woods in October. Me and some Navy girlfriends, we were stationed together in Guam. We're going on a cruise and we're leaving out of Miami. So
Oh, yay. Well, come find me. I'd love to grab dinner or lunch or something before you head out.
yeah, that would be fun. All right, I've got two final questions. So, as in your business, as a female, what do you think your superpower is that you bring into your business?
I feel like when I teach people about money, it's coming from my heart. And when you come from your heart, people just receive that information so much more than when you're trying to be logical. I mean, money is logical, numbers is logical. But when you tie an emotion to what your goals are, do you want to pay off your house? What does that feel like for you? Who's there with you? Close your eyes, envision that moment. Who are you celebrating with? And when you tie that heart to the emotion and people can tell that you care and you want to help them really achieve the goal, and you're not just a teacher hammering down about stop spending money, or like your parents used to say, like, you don't have money, why are you buying that? No, take all of that out of consideration and let's lead with our heart first so that we can impact more people. And the more that you learn about money and you teach your kids, you're changing the generations in front of you. Like, think about that impact. How amazing would it be to know I'm a Christian, so you're up in heaven, you're looking at your great grandkids, and they're still practicing things that you taught your children. So that for me would be just an amazing experience.
Definitely changing legacies.
Yes.
So love that. All right. Final question. What is your word for 2024?
What do I want for my word to be? I'm probably going to come back to health. I know I need to focus on it for myself. I've let some things go that, I probably shouldn't have. And sometimes we work so hard and so fast, and so often that pain just becomes normal, and it's not. And so I have to give myself permission to take time off to really figure out the health issues. And so my word for right now is health.
Well, my prayers are with you that you get everything under control, because you have so many gifts to get out into the world that I just can't see wait to see the impact of, all the great things that you're doing. So
thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. I know you're a busy woman. We're going to have Angela's contact information, but everything, I love how she's done all her social media. It's at Empower Her Money. So look for her podcast, YouTube, all her socials. And we'll have all that in the description below. So
thank you.
Thanks for your time. Talk to y'all later. Bye. Forget unicorns. Unlock your true potential with actionable tips, inspiring stories, and a whole lot of laughs. Join the mission. Subscribe now. Find your own What's Her Superpower. Join the mission.